Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, so this is Sarim Zeb Khan, and my group member is Rahil Kiani, and our topic is Decorator design pattern. And first of all, I'm gonna explain the first two portions of the topic, and that is introduction and implementation of the Decorator design pattern. Uh, okay. So let's move towards the introduction. First of all, let me just make one thing clear, that ma'am has told us that you should not work much upon the slides, but you should know the topic very well and make sure that you can explain it. So I haven't done much on the slides, but I have studied the topic well and I know it. So I'll try my best to explain it. Okay, let's go. Decorator, also known as wrapper, attaches additional responsibilities. Okay, so first of all, when a software is made, okay, its code is completed and it starts working on a platform wherever it is supposed to be worked upon. So most of the time, dealing with application softwares, we have to face changes. There's no software. There are mostly 90% 80% of the softwares require change. Okay, so to accommodate this change, we have different methods, we have different approaches to accommodate those changes. So one of the method to accommodate any change, any new feature in a software, we have this approach called as the decorator design pattern. We use this approach to accommodate new changes in a software. First of all, it is also called the wrapper, it is also known as wrapper. This is because the main thing in this pattern is that it doesn't changes the original basic code that was first time used, that was first time made by the developer. Okay, it doesn't changes that code remains the same like that. It just wraps it up along with the new feature. जो हमारे पास पुराना कोड होता है, फर्स्ट टाइम जो यूज़ करते हैं, वो हमारे पास वैसा ही रहता है, सेम रहता है. और डेकोरेटर डिज़ाइन पैटर्न से हम क्या करते हैं कि हम न्यू क्लासेस, डेकोरेटर क्लासेस बनाते हैं और उसके अंदर न्यू चेंजेस अकोमोडेट करते जाते हैं, न्यू चेंजेस की क्लासेस बनाते हैं जो कि डेकोरेट करता है ओरिजिनल कोड को, जो कि डेकोरेट करता है. इसके नाम से इट्स क्लियर दैट व्हेन एवर वी डेकोरेट समथिंग, we put something on it, we don't change the original thing. Whenever we're gonna decorate something like a wall, we put things on it, we draw things on it, we don't change the wall remains the same, we just cover it with stuff. So that's the thing over here, that is why it is called the decorator pattern, that the original code remains the same and we just cover it up with the new things, with the new features. So decorator, also known as wrapper, attaches additional responsibilities to an object dynamically. Okay, so here is the word used, dynamically, that the decorator design pattern changes the software dynamically. It means that that this pattern shows changes upon runtime. Okay, it shows changes upon runtime, it doesn't shows changes previously, it shows changes upon runtime. That's why it is the word dynamically is used here. Attaches additional responsibilities means that additional features that we want to enter in, we want to accommodate in the software. So those are the additional responsibilities to an object dynamically, means that on runtime. It means that we are not changing the original code. If we change the original line of code, then it won't be changing things dynamically. It will be changing things statically. They will be compiled, they will be considered as permanent part. Okay, but that's not happening in decorator pattern. We can change. It's like a cover. It's like a cover. The new things entering in the software, they are like a cover. They are covering the previous parts, and we can change them easily. We don't have to go again to the main code again and again and again and again, um, in the decorator design pattern. So and further it's written, and it doesn't changes the actual code of the class. It wraps the code inside of it and enhances it externally. Let's move to the next slide. uh, okay, implementation of the decorator design pattern. Okay, when a new requirement is introduced to the already existing system, it's a big problem to accommodate it without any inconsistencies or inefficiency. Okay, so you see, if we're not talking about a single requirement here, of course there will be hundreds or even more requirement changes in the software. They sometimes they say that add new features, sometimes they say that remove the previous some specific features, sometimes they ask to change some already existing features. So these are the problems that occur after a software is built. So to accommodate these, to deal with these problems, we have certain approaches. Like sometimes when we want to, the majority of the problem is that uh, majorly the new features are introduced. Majorly new features are introduced. So let's consider that if new features are introduced, then we can either make new classes for those features and keep on going and making classes and going and making classes and up to so on. We but at the end we see that those classes, there are bunch of clustering and there are a lot of classes that we can't deal with. We forget which class is where, and we have to find stuff, and that leads us to inconsistency. And we don't want that. It's a mess when you have a lot of classes, like random classes placed here and there. So that's one thing, that you can make a lot of classes, but that's not convenient, that's not consistent. So what do? we we make a we make a decorator class, and then we implement the new features, their classes, with that decorator class, and that class will decorate the original code, and that will be more obvious when I move further to the diagram to the diagram of decorator pattern. But still, for now, that a decorator class is made, its implementation is like that. To avoid this mess of a lot of classes, we have original classes aside. We know that these are the basic classes. Okay, as I've told, we don't have to change them. So they are the previous classes, we don't change them, they stay like that. So whenever you open the code, you know that, oh, these are the basic classes that were made for the first time. So that becomes easy. And then further you have down decorator parent, and then their child classes are the then its child classes are the new features. So it becomes easy, that the new features are being added in the decorator class, and the basic features are upon the uh, are all above aside. So it becomes much clear. So this is the decorator pattern. This is the first part, and I'll move to the second part.